Ahoy everyone, this is David Eugene Perry back in the Zoom room with our interviews with people who are on stage, off stage, or about to come in and enjoy someone on stage. And today we have really, truly a member of Cabaret royalty here in the United States. Welcome to the Zoom room, the one and only Billy Stritch. Billy, welcome.
Thank you. Good to be here with you.
Well, we're all very excited because tomorrow night and Saturday night we'll get to see you here in the Purple Room. And, before I begin the interview, I just want to thank you because I know because of your generosity and support, the Purple Room made it through the worst of COVID. So thank you for your support.
Well, it's my pleasure. We can't abandon our clubs because, now we want to go out. So, thank God me and, a ton of other people saved it. It's very important.
All those faces in the dark, as Nora Desmond used to say.
Yeah, right. Exactly. Sure.
Well, now you were here in the desert right before COVID swept over us. Tell us a little bit about that and your memories of it.
Well, that was exactly right before everything shut down. I was out here last March 9, 10, and 11 at the Annenberg with my friend Max von Essen, who's a terrific Broadway leading man. And the night of the third show was the 11th, and that was the night the travel ban was announced. And, we just kind of looked at each other and we're like, well, this was fun. And of course, I don't think nobody thought it was going to go so long. I thought, oh, just a few weeks, a month, maybe, maybe till the end of May, and then we're just kidding ourselves. So
yeah, of course at that time you meant the end of May 2020. No one ever thought we'd get into 2021.
Oh, absolutely. No, middle of March, everything started. My last actual gig in a room in front of people was March 15th. I work with a guy in New York named Jim Caruso, and we do Monday nights at Birdland, but Sunday nights we do Bemelman's Bar at the Carlisle. And we were just starting our spring residency on March 15th. And by the end of the 3-hour shift, the Mayor de Blasio had shut everything down. So we're like, well, that was the shortest residency we ever had. And so, yeah, we thought it would I thought it would last maybe till the end of April, then, another month. And then, by the summer of last year, it was like, okay, we're just used to it. It's going on. We all figured out other things to do.
Well, for the three people that have not heard of your incredible career, talk a little bit about how you got to be the man of magic on the keyboard and with a microphone.
Well, that's very kind of you. I mean, that would take a lot longer than we have right now. But basically, I grew up in Texas in a small town called Sugar Land outside of Houston. And I knew from a really young age that I could play piano by ear and that I loved specifically Great American Songbook music. I heard this music for the first time on variety shows, what was left at that point in the early 70s, like Carol Burnett show, Sonny and Cher show. They would always, do at some point great American songs from the 20s, 30s, 40s, 50s, just wonderful, harmonic, tuneful, great melodies. So that was always the music I loved. And I started working professionally, well, when I was 14, but I started working in clubs when I was 17, just 17, and working with great singers. I had a vocal group all through my 20s, which the 1980s called Montgomery, Plant, and Stritch. We worked together for 8 years, started in Houston, started branching out from there. We got to the point where we were working in New York quite a lot. We were doing, regular 6-week-long engagements at the Algonquin Hotel and the Great Oak Room, which was fantastic. It's no longer a cabaret.
Yes, sad loss.
Sad loss. Fantastic place. But, and by the end, we were opening for Mel Torme at Carnegie Hall and doing jazz festivals all over Europe. And it was a great, great ride, but it ended in 1990. It ran its course. So I basically at that point had been decided, I decided I need to permanently move to New York. I had spent so much time in New York by then that it felt like a very natural move. But what was the next step? I did not have any idea. And a friend of mine who owned a wonderful restaurant on Theater Row on West 42nd Street said, well, come and play at my piano bar a couple nights a week. Well, long story short, every time I would go in, he would say, you just missed her. She was here last night. He was talking about Liza Minnelli. And at that point, she was putting together a big show for Radio City Music Hall. You couldn't walk down the street and not see her on a cab or on a bus or on a billboard. She was everywhere. And she came into the restaurant one night. She heard me play. She liked what I played. The song I played to get her from her table to me was a beautiful theme song from a movie called The Bad and the Beautiful. And it's from Vincent Minnelli. Great film with Lana Turner and Kirk Douglas. One of my favorite movies anyway, but a gorgeous theme. And I started playing that, and I saw her get up, and she came over to me and sat next to me, and we just bonded. And by the end of the night, a lot of my friends showed up. You know, she was singing, everyone was singing. And she asked me if I wanted to come sit in on the rehearsals the next week. And, you know, I showed up that Monday and basically never left. Um, I worked my way into a position doing vocal arrangements for that show. There were 12 women in that show. I mean, it was quite a thrilling upward trajectory that happened 30 years ago. It was March of 1991. And so working with Liza all over the world brought me a lot of notoriety, and you know, a lot of people knew who I was. And from then I've worked many years with Marilyn Maye.
Oh,
And you know, I
who's
mean, she
also
was
here?
actually,
Who's also here this year at the Purple Room next month?
oh, I know. Yeah, she's a mainstay at the Purple Room. I first heard Marilyn in Houston when I was 18 years old. And she was the first nightclub performer that I just fell in love with, and still the greatest, in my opinion, that really knows how to entertain in the nightclub setting. And I started working with her when I was 19. So we've worked together on and off for 42 years. And, you know, she's 93 now and just having the career of her life and so much work. And, you know, I beg her to slow down, but she's not going to slow down. But
No, well, you know, if someone says you get to be a certain age, you want to retire, I say yes, but never be retiring.
yeah, no, that's right. You know, she's still got a lot of songs to sing, you know. So, you know, I working with her, working with Christine Ebersole, working with Linda Lavin, who's also worked at the Purple Room with me. You know, for me, because I'm a singer, it's all about singing and accompanying. And I love to accompany singers because I feel like, because I'm a singer, I really know how the singer breathes and phrases. And I feel like that's something I do particularly well. Uh,
Well,
but I always loved singing on my own. That's really the first thing I did. And I'm so thrilled to be doing that this weekend at the Purple Room. You know, since the pandemic, I've been doing lots of live streaming every week. And so I've really pushed my own singing and my own performing up to the front again. And it's been great to go out into the world and do solo gigs. So,
your your
um,
your legions of fans here in the desert. I've been talking to people. Your name's on the street. I have two friends, Nelson and Andrea, who are coming
great.
specifically to see you. It's a buzz.
Well, great. You know, the room is just a perfect room. You know, it's the exact right size that you want it to be for a supper club. It's a wonderful throwback, you know, mid-century, you know, that term, you know, you can't it's very Palm Springs in every
Yes.
way. I love the style of it. I love you know, you walk in there and you definitely get the feeling that there are ghosts in the room of all the Rat Pack and all the people that used to hang out there. And I'm so thrilled that Michael Holmes and Jeremy have created this great space, you know, because it's a wonderful, the audiences here get it. They're sophisticated. Um, Quite often they were in the business, or they are in the business, or they've retired here, but they remember the golden age of nightclubs. And so it's thrilling to be presenting my show. And you said all those people out there in the dark. What's nice is that everyone's candlelit. So actually, they're not
They
so in the dark,
no.
you know, which is good. I like to see faces.
Yeah, they are. I was just there last night at the bar because no matter, there really isn't a bad seat in the house. It is one of those truly magic places. And again, thank you for help saving it. You know,
Oh, God, it's my pleasure.
well, you know, as you have told this great story, and I'm sure you will talk about it tomorrow and Saturday night on stage about the great ladies that you worked with, but this show's all about you. Tell us,
Yes.
what are we going to hear? What are we going to see? And how much of your new album are we going to have?
Well, you're going to hear a few things from the new album. I did this album about a year ago in the midst of a pandemic. I have a great record company I'm affiliated with in Nashville. And so last summer, I was about 20 shows into the live streaming, and I was learning lots of great songs or revisiting songs that I hadn't done it in a long time. And I thought, I need to do an album. And it was really nice because it was the kind of album that I really wanted to do, which was just piano and vocal. And because no one wanted to get in a room and crowd musicians in a room, it was like perfect. Fly to Nashville. There was 13 people on the plane. I was thrilled. It was great. And we knocked it out in about 2 days. The show is going to be, there's some noise behind me. Can you still hear me okay?
Fine.
So, I'm outside. There's somebody doing a leaf blower. But anyway, the show's a real mix of the stuff I love. Cy Coleman, Sammy Kahn, doing a little bit of jazz, a Nat King Cole jazz tune. I'm doing a Barry Manilow song. I'm doing a couple of original things. I have a great medley. I'm a big old movie musical buff, like so many of us are. And so I'm putting together a big medley of songs from the movie Singing in the Rain.
Oh, wow.
It's a real mix of material, and it's very intimate. Sometimes I work with a trio, bass and drums, and that's great. And that's a bit more, maybe more jazz club. This is great because it opens me up to do several different styles, a little bit of Brazilian, a little bit of, there's something for everyone. I know that gets said a lot, but in my case, it's absolutely true.
It's interesting. Just the other night, I was in Northern California, San Francisco, and took the ferry to Yoshi's, another great club.
That's right.
Ann Hampton Calloway, and she also did a COVID album. I guess it's the thing to do. Some people baked bread. You guys did albums.
She did, and she also was doing live streaming, not as often as me. But, I was one of the first, and then everyone, I'm not to say I can take credit for it, but we all kind of did what we had to do, in terms of like getting our creativity out there and our music out there to people. What was great about the live streaming is, I'm reaching people, we're all reaching people all over the world. Thank God for the internet. If the pandemic had happened without the internet, I don't know how musicians would have survived, because also with that is the ability to send virtual tips, and I'm not above asking for tips, So
I paid Billy, not nearly as talented as you by far, but I paid for college by playing and singing in a nightclub, and the first thing you ask is, where do I put the tip jar? So
where do you put the tip jar? That's one thing I learned at the very, very beginning of my career. And it's so funny because one of the first jobs I ever had, I was 15, working at the golf club, Coachella Valley Golf Club, private club. And I was working happy hour. I would get out of high school, drive to the gig, work 3 hours. And these women off the golf course will request songs. And if I didn't know it, I would somehow find a record of it or a way to hear it. And I learned that if you do that, then they'll tip you. So that started me off on that, learning tons of songs. I imagine I probably could sit down and play at least 1,500 different songs just that are in my head, So I've never stopped to count, but, there's a lot.
People don't think of cabaret entertainers as entrepreneurs, but you're an entrepreneur with a keyboard.
Oh, well, thank you. Okay, I was going to say I'm not so much in the financial world, but I think we all had to figure out ways to make it work, and it's been a real learning time, that's for sure. But there's nothing beats a live performance, and so I'm so grateful to be able to get back out in the world and work in a great room like the Purple Room, and just that give and take with an audience is nothing beats it.
Well, it's a great pleasure speaking with you. Billy, before we sign off, any closing words for your fans, either who are going to see this today or tomorrow and Saturday at Michael Holmes' Purple Room in Palm Springs?
Absolutely. I just want to say hi to everybody who's watching. And if you are in this area, please come and see me. You will definitely have a good time. And also, I have tons of shows on my YouTube channel, all the shows I've been doing. So if you're not really familiar with what I do, go to my YouTube channel, Billy Stritch, and go to any one of the 63 Billy's Place episodes. Just listen to a bit of this and a bit of that. Each week's a different composer or a different singer, so you get an idea of what I'm all about that way.
Well, and for those of us who weren't able to get out and about, which was most everyone during the pandemic, it helped a lot of us keep the music on, so thank you for that.
Oh, thank you, David. Great.
Well, this is David Eugene Perry. We've been speaking with the one and only Billy Stritch. You'll see him tomorrow night and Saturday at Michael Holmes' The Purple Room in Palm Springs, October 8th and 9th. So, on behalf of The Purple Room, this is David Perry. Ahoy.